Good morning, everybody on YouTube. Slightly early, as is my penchant. Um, but it is about that time. It is almost 8:05, which means we are almost live with the booking office. And my wife just walked in the room, but I think she's just putting something up. Morning, baby.
Good morning.
She just woke up. Before we kick everything off this morning, the wonders of live video. One quick thing this morning before we get too far into things, and it is now officially 8:05. I wanted to say that since we were last here, the outstanding announcer, truly a broadcasting legend, Lance Russell, passed away. Lance Russell was the voice of Memphis Wrestling. He was an inspiration to a great many people, myself being one of them. He helped inspire my career in the wrestling business and who Greg Hunter became. And I just wanted to take a moment to send not only my personal, but on behalf of everyone at the ECS Network, our thoughts, prayers, and condolences out to the family of Lance Russell. He will be sorely missed. And so I wanted to get that out of the way first and foremost as we kick things off here on the booking office. So, to give you guys an idea, right now we are getting ready to book SummerSlam. SummerSlam 1991 took place on a Monday, April 26th, 1991. That isn't right. August 26th, 1991. It's still a Monday. Which was really weird to me when I looked at it. I was like, my God, why was this on a Monday? But the WWE played a little fast and loose with their, shall we say, with their timetables. You know, what day of the week would they book stuff? So I have a couple of new pieces of talent, specifically going into August, as I pull up my roster. On the babyface side, because they would have entered WCW by this point, I now have Firebreaker, Chip, and Todd champion the Patriots. Look for them to be moving up the ranks quick. And I have Bill Kazmaier, who was not the best in-ring worker, but there's probably some stuff I could do with Bill Kazmaier, especially building around the whole World's Strongest Man gimmick. On the other side, I now have Skinner, Steve Kern, and I now have Big Bully Busick, known as Nick Busick in a lot of places, who's a star in North Georgia for a little while. And then I also get the Beverly Brothers, Mike Enos and Wayne Bloom, formerly known as the Destruction Crew in other places. They were under hoods in WCW for a little while as the Minnesota Wrecking Crew 2. But here they are, the Bo and Blake, the Beverly Brothers. I'm also going to be future endeavoring a few people, basically to keep my roster size under some semblance of order. So we are now wishing Earthquake, John Tenta, and the Berserker the very best in their future endeavors. The long and short is, I've never cared for the Berserker's work, period. And Earthquake really doesn't fit what I'm trying to do. So we're gonna wish those two the very best. And for the record, Randy Savage is now a full-blown babyface. So that is where we are at in August of '91 at SummerSlam. Um, the original SummerSlam card, the one that is actually in 1991, was billed as the match made in heaven and the match made in hell. It featured the wedding of the Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, and then it had the main event tag team handicap match with Hulk Hogan, the world champion, and the Ultimate Warrior against Sergeant Slaughter, Colonel Mustafa, the former Iron Sheik, and General Adnan Al-Qaisi. We are going to be essentially billing this the same way. Both of those things were very good. As I was putting together the card, I realized that quite accidentally I have mimicked the original 91 card in a couple of places, but in other places I am not. One of the things they did on the 91 card that I didn't care for personally was they literally swapped every title on the card that was in a title match. They changed the World Tag Team titles. This is when the Legion of Doom won them in real life. They switched the Intercontinental title. This is when Bret Hart won the IC belt. And they switched the $1 Million title, which was very rarely, if ever, in a title match. But they switched that by putting it on Virgil. This is by the time that Virgil's done his face turn. And Sherry is now with Ted DiBiase. In our world, things are going to work out a little differently. So here's what we're dealing with. Obviously, as I normally do, I'm not going to go through the entire build-up for each and every little match. We're going to kind of go through the card and the weeks leading up to kind of deal. Big Bully Busick debuted the month of SummerSlam. He debuted in August. So we're going to get to see him on TV. And we're going to get to see him racking up wins with his manager, Harvey Whippleman, who I first saw as Downtown Bruno in Memphis. But Big Bully Busick is going to be just racking up win after win after win. We're going to see him once a week. He'll just do the rotation of the TVs. But he's going to be getting quality win after quality win after quality win on TV, just looking terribly impressive. And people getting carried out of the ring every time they set foot in the ring with him. I want to build him up as a dangerous human being. Big Bully Busick had such a unique look and a great feel. I liked his style. I really liked Big Bully Busick, and why they didn't give him more of a something. Some kind of development I've never quite understood. But I liked him a lot. So here he's opening the show, going over on the Z-Man Tom Zink with the Heart Punch, which he called the Bully Blaster. He never actually used that move in the WWF. His finish in the WWF was the Stump Puller, and I forget what he called it. It was the Bully something. But we're going to give him the Heart Punch, which he used elsewhere. And that's going to be his finish. So he's going to hit the Heart Punch in 6 minutes, and poor Tom Zink is going to get stretchered out, and that's how we're going to open SummerSlam. On pay-per-view anyway. There was a dark match in real life on SummerSlam. We will presume that there was a dark match here on SummerSlam, and chances are, as I look over the roster, chances are Brad Armstrong went over on the Brooklyn Brawler. Our World Tag Team title match is going to feature the Steiner Brothers coming off of Saturday night's main event, where Scott Steiner pinned Paul Roma with a reversed inside cradle. We're going to wind up having the Steiner Brothers get the shot at the tag team titles here. Essentially, Power and Glory is going to be getting good wins on TV. We will see TV World Tag title defenses one a month leading up to this. They have beaten the Young Pistols on TV. They will have beaten the Renegade Warriors on TV. They will have beaten the Patriots, who debuted. They will have beaten them on TV. The two teams they will not have beaten on TV are the Rock and Roll Express and the Steiner Brothers. And when they get their hands on the Steiner Brothers here, that's when the Steiner Brothers pick up the Duke. The Steiner Brothers, again, also going through everybody. They're going to get some TV main events, too. We're going to see them beating the Orient Express. We're going to see them beating the Powers of Pain. They probably pick up a win on TV over the Nasty Boys at some point. The only team that we're not going to really see them beat on TV would be Demolition. But that's going to be the way of things, and we're not going to see them beat the Beverly Brothers either. But that's going to be kind of the way of the world here with Scott Steiner pinning Paul Roma after the Frankensteiner in about 15 minutes to become the World Tag Team Champions. The next matchup on the card is going to be, and I'm gonna play with this a little bit on the fly because something has occurred to me that I want to correct. As eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed, I really haven't done a lot with Lex Luger. I've had Luger appear here and there. I think on TV mainly. Where have I had Luger? Obviously, Luger would have had a good showing in the Royal Rumble. Luger beat Rick Martel at WrestleMania. We didn't see Luger on Saturday night's main event. So we're gonna see Luger do something here at SummerSlam. He doesn't have a match. But the match is going to be the model Rick Martel with his manager, the sensational Sherry, who's going to go with the model because, by cracky, she's going to find a real man who can take her back to her throne. So she's going to kind of be the driving force in this upcoming program, which is going to be Rick Martel trying to become the king. All because Sherry Martel wants to be the queen again. And we're going to, of course, deliberately neglect to mention that Sherry's last name is also Martel because they are in no way related. But the model Rick Martel with Sensational Sherry is going to defeat Beautiful Bobby Eaton in about 8 minutes with Boston Crab, which Martel is going to refuse to release, and which is going to become a recurring theme on television. We're going to see Martel using the Boston Crab on various jobbers, enhancement talent. I shouldn't use the word jobber because J.J. Dillon would have my head on a stake for that. Enhancement talent. We see him getting strong wins on TV over enhancement talent with the Boston Crab, but always refusing to let it go. Ever since Sherry comes with him, he refuses to let the Boston Crab go. And he's looking at Sherry the entire time, seeking approval, basically. And Sherry is encouraging Martel to be more and more vicious and brutal. And don't let him go and hurt this person and so on and so forth. Show them why you should be king. Or perhaps more importantly, show me why you should be king. But at SummerSlam, this is going to precipitate a run-in by Lex Luger, which is going to break the whole thing up. And we're going to start setting the stage for Survivor Series. I think we're going to have Martel and Luger on opposite teams. Then we're going to have the $1 Million Championship. We are going to have the $1 Million Championship as a title match at SummerSlam. But again, history is going to proceed a little different. In this case, it's going to be Ted DiBiase versus Dustin Rhodes. Up to this point, really since bringing Dustin in, we've been positioning him for something of this nature. First defeating Virgil at WrestleMania, and then we've seen Ted DiBiase beat a common man in Big Josh. So at SummerSlam, we're going to have Ted DiBiase versus Dustin Rhodes for the $1 Million Championship, and it's going to wind up basically DiBiase. It's put up or shut up for Dustin Rhodes. And so we are going to do that with Virgil interfering and allowing DiBiase to lock on the $1 Million Dream and put Dustin Rhodes out in about 10 minutes. We're going to go forward to Survivor Series out of this, to something bigger and better for Dustin. But I want Dustin's quest to beat Ted DiBiase to be an actual quest, because this is the young upstart trying to walk in his daddy's shoes, so to speak, and so that's where we're going with it. Lead up to this is going to be mostly from DiBiase promos on TV, about how Dustin Rhodes is a nothing and a nobody. There's nothing there for Dustin Rhodes. There's his father was a common hack, and like father, like son, and that sort of thing. And then have Dustin Rhodes just continue to win on television. My actions will speak for me. These people will speak for me. Ted DiBiase, you may have millions of dollars, but that means nothing, when it's up against the people. You can't buy off everybody. But obviously you can buy off Virgil. We're going to wind up having the Rock and Roll Express in action. They're going to beat the Beverly Brothers in about 10 minutes after the double drop kick. I want to keep the Rock and Roll Express positioned well, because I see them with a title run down the road, potentially. If not, I see them as perennial contenders. The Beverly Brothers will have had numerous impressive wins on television up to this point. Potentially including a singles win. We might do the old on TV where Bo beats, Bo beat Robert Gibson on TV, but Blake lost to Ricky Morton on TV. We might even do that leading up to the big tag encounter. And then it's not really going to be a program past that. This is sort of a filler match on the card, but it is to also, one, it would be an outstanding match, but it's also to give the Beverly Brothers some pay-per-view exposure, because they're a solid tag team, and we're going to get the Rock and Roll Express, we're going to get them a good win at SummerSlam. Then we are going to have the Intercontinental title, and this is where I said I eerily mirrored so the real SummerSlam 91. Sting is going to defeat Intercontinental Champion Mr. Perfect with the Scorpion Deathlock in about 20 minutes. Mr. Perfect with his manager, Bobby the Brain Heenan, to capture the Intercontinental title. Now, of course, in real life at this point, Mr. Perfect is managed by the coach, John Tolos. We're not doing that. We're keeping Bobby Heenan with him. It's just a solid match. We have seen on TV, we have seen Sting picking up solid wins. We have seen Mr. Perfect with impressive defenses of the title. And much like I said, coming out of SummerSlam, or coming out of the Saturday Night's Main Event, rather, we have seen Sting up to this point. Sting has beat Dino Bravo. Sting, let's see here. What was Sting doing at WrestleMania? I don't think Sting was actually on the WrestleMania card. He was not on the WrestleMania. No, yes, he was. He beat the Mountie at WrestleMania. He was not on the Saturday Night's Main Event card, nor was he on the main event card. So we've seen him beat Dino Bravo. We've seen him beat the Mountie. We've seen him on TV rack up quality wins. He's probably at this point beat Haku on TV. He's almost certainly beaten IRS on TV. He's racked up solid TV wins over and over. At the same time, Mr. Perfect has been on a tear of his own. He defeated Bobby Eaton at Royal Rumble. He defeated Brad Armstrong. He was on Saturday Night's Main Event, and he beat the Junkyard Dog. And the concept was, up to this point, when he beats Bobby Eaton, he beats someone who is agile and fast. When he beats Brad Armstrong, he's beating someone that's technically proficient. When he beats the Junkyard Dog, he's beating someone that is bigger and stronger. everyone he has defeated up to this point has one aspect of what Sting brings to the table, because Sting is fast and agile, Sting is technically proficient, and Sting is bigger and stronger. So what happens when you put all three together in one guy? You have someone that can beat Mr. Perfect. And that's basically what we get. And they do 20 minutes and tear the house down. But Heenan is going to be on TV basically telling the story. You know, we've beaten people that are bigger and stronger than us, Sting. We've beaten people who are fast, who are quick, who are agile. So is Mr. Perfect. We've beaten people who are technically proficient. So is Mr. Perfect. You know, every tool you bring to the table, we have an answer for. And you know, Sting's general response is, you may have an answer for any individual tool, but you don't have an answer for me. So that basically becomes your story and your rhetoric, and they're of course getting wins on TV, but there's going to be a lot of talking to lead up to that, because both of these guys are tremendous talkers. The semi-main spot is occupied by the wedding of Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, because why wouldn't it be? And truthfully, I'm probably not going to screw the wedding up. If I'm perfectly honest, my thought process is that I'm going to wind up with Rick Martel versus Macho Man as a program. And let Sherry be the motivating factor, as opposed to some contrivancy with The Undertaker and whoever else, Jake Roberts. So, but we're not going to do anything here. So then, our main event is the match made in hell. And this is, again, mostly a lot of promos leading up to this, but it is the heavyweight champion of the world, the All-American Ron Simmons, along with the King, Wildfire Tommy Rich, taking on Sergeant Slaughter, Colonel Mustafa, and General Adnan Al-Kaisi. Of course, the babyfaces go over in about 20 minutes when Ron Simmons power slams Sergeant Slaughter, thus solidifying his victory from WrestleMania. Solid match. Probably a good bit of gaga from the General. This is going to be just a brutal little fight of a match, back and forth. Tommy Rich probably getting his butt stomped, as Tommy Rich does very well, to set the plate for Simmons. And that's going to kind of be the story of the match. And then Slaughter's going to disappear for a little bit after this, to be perfectly honest. I don't know how I'm going to have Slaughter disappear, but he's going to disappear because I always thought one of Sergeant Slaughter's greatest sets of promos and programs ever was the I Want My Country Back, which is something that I actually want to do with Slaughter here. I just have to figure out how to do it, because I don't have a Jim Duggan on the other side of the card to help with that. So somehow, some way, we're going to figure out something to do to set Sergeant Slaughter up in that position. Coming out of this, and by the way, on TV leading up to it, we've probably had one thing that I'm not afraid to do that WWF did not like to do at the time. They never liked to let their world champion look weak. I don't mind having Ron Simmons get beat down every once in a blue moon, which probably happens on TV. We probably have Ron Simmons get beat down and let Tommy Rich make the save. If for no other reason than to give cause for Tommy Rich to be the world champion's partner. And make it seem like a symbiotic relationship between them, rather than Simmons just helping out a lesser guy. That was a benefit of the Hogan Warrior mystique, is both had been world champion. Hogan was the current champion, Warrior was the guy that beat Hogan, and Hogan had never beat the Warrior. So you could look at them as equal. I want to do that on some level here, and the easiest way to do that in this situation is to, at some point on TV, in the weeks leading up to this, have Ron Simmons get beat down, get left bloodied, look like it's going to be the coup de grace, and then out comes Tommy Rich to make the save. So yeah, that's going to be the deal here. So going forward, what we're looking at, Sting probably has a series of rematches with Mr. Perfect after this, and we'll probably give Perfect a bit of a rest as well. But he'll get the rematches around the horn on the house shows. Busick, we're going to keep doing some good business with. To be honest, a Busick Sting match appeals to me a lot. So that might be something that happens. We're angling short term for Rick Martel versus Tommy Rich, but long term for Rick Martel versus Randy Savage. So I would look forward to that. Power and Glory probably gets a rest at this point. Couldn't tell you, although they would get the rematches around the horn as well, having just dropped the belts. Don't know how long the Steiners are going to keep the tag team titles, because I always thought the Steiners were better chasing the belts than holding them. And then DiBiase and Dustin Rhodes, that's certainly not over. The Rock and Rolls are staying in the tag mix, as are the Beverly Brothers. And then, of course, Ron Simmons, we got to figure out the challenge for Ron Simmons going forward. And I imagine it will be rather grave, if you catch my drift. Because that, again, that's one of those things that I think worked very, very well. And it would be interesting, perhaps, for Ron Simmons to hook it up with The Undertaker. That's something I'm thinking about. I don't know that I'm going to do it, but I'm thinking about it. So, folks, that gets us out of SummerSlam. Let me know what you guys think. If you like the video, please hit the like button. And, of course, subscribe to us here on the ECS Network. We always appreciate that. Let me know in the comments below, what would you have done? Or what would you like to see? You are the fans of this 1991 WWF, so you tell me. Because what you say could change the direction. All good bookers listen to the people. So it could change the direction of the WWE. I say all good bookers listen to the people. So do the bad ones. So, or at least some of them. All good bookers, but me too. So that's where we're headed. Coming out of SummerSlam, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you get a chance and you'd like to help us out here on the ECS Network, jump over to our Facebook pages, all of them, whether it's Denzi Caster, 8-Star Anime, Chopsaki Cinema, or RQR Podcast for Rage Quit Radio. You can jump over to our Cafe Press store, pick yourself up a cool t-shirt, kind of like the one I'm wearing. I know it's flipped in reverse, but that's because the way the camera's pointed at me, and we're taping live. But you can go pick up a cool t-shirt over at cafepress.com/ECS Network. And you can become one of our patrons at patreon.com/ECS Network. All we ask for on there is $1 a month. We don't have any higher levels or any smaller levels right now. It's just $1 a month to help us get some new lighting for 8-Star Anime and Chopsaki Cinema. That's the big deal at the moment. So, folks, thank you for joining me this morning. Hope you've enjoyed this look at SummerSlam. And when next we meet, we will be going into November for the Survivor Series, and by that point I will have future endeavored Van Hammer out of the WWF. We will have brought on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Barry Horowitz, and the Nature Boy, Ric Flair into the WWF. So look forward to all of that. Until then, folks, I'm Mike. Thanks for